Cruise ship captains hate one thing above all else. I've spoken with several captains and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, plus 6 other things they desperately wish you knew before boarding. I'm Gary with Optimal Cruising, bringing you fresh cruise advice, money-saving hacks, and secret strategies the cruise lines don't advertise. Let's get started. When I first board a cruise, I'm all prepared for that mandatory muster drill. If you've been cruising before, you know what I'm talking about. All cruisers on all cruise lines have to go through this step. It is required, and it is one of the things that captains actually care about, because your cruise ship captain is responsible for the safety of every passenger on that ship. And when they see passengers not taking this seriously or trying to get away with not going through the drill, it kind of bothers them. There's other safety briefings that might go on during your cruise, especially if you're encountering bad weather or something of that sort. It's important to pay attention to these and follow instructions. Captains complain that when they run into situations like this, too many passengers are just in their party mode, vacation mode, and they don't heed the warnings. Captains do care about safety, and that's one of the big things they wish cruise passengers would care more about. And safety isn't the only thing that cruise ship captains are concerned about. I know when I go on a cruise, if I want to get a deck chair in a prime location, I'm going to need to get there pretty early and stay with that chair most of the day, because people claim deck chairs all the time on cruise ships. And in fact, many people claim these chairs by putting all kinds of articles of clothing, towels, towel clips, and other things on the chairs, and they could be absent from them for hours at a time. Well, this tends to bother cruise ship captains. One captain told me that this is one of the biggest complaints he gets from passengers on board, that people actually come up to him and say, "I can't even find a spot, everybody's hogging all the chairs." And many cruise lines have a policy that if you leave a chair unattended, that they will remove your stuff and keep it for you later when you finally come back. However, this doesn't happen as much as maybe it should, and it's really not their job to be policing everybody out there. So if you're gonna use a deck chair, it's best for you to stay with it all day. Captains would prefer that if you're leaving a deck chair, that you give it up for somebody else to enjoy. But keep in mind, if you want a prime location, you're gonna have to get there pretty early because of all the people claiming these chairs. And until cruise lines really start cracking down on that, if you don't get there early, you're likely to miss out on the spot you want. And this next item, one captain told me he's actually kicked passengers off of his ship for. But first, I want to know where you come down. Do you save deck chairs, or do you refuse to save deck chairs? Put it in the comments below. You're on a cruise ship in the middle of the vast ocean. But unfortunately, oceans are getting more and more polluted these days, and cruise ship captains take it very seriously when people throw things overboard. Now, there have been some crazy instances of passengers caught throwing furniture overboard a cruise ship, which is just insane. But captains take it just as seriously if you're throwing cigarette butts or golf balls or really anything overboard. It is against policy on all major cruise lines now, and one captain told me that he actually had to kick a couple off the ship because they kept throwing things overboard outside their balcony. Now, the couple was claiming that they were just throwing in food to feed birds or something, but they were warned once, and the captain said that after that first warning, and they kept catching them on video throwing stuff over out their balcony, he let them off at the next port of call. Don't let that happen to you, and keep in mind, this is one of those things It really bothers a lot of cruise ship captains. And if you think that behavior is bad, wait until you hear this next captain pet peeve. I've noticed recently, it seems like a week can't go by when you see another video going viral about some kind of disruptive behavior on a cruise ship. And this is something that cruise ship captains really despise. They want everybody to have a nice vacation. They want the cruise to go smoothly. And so when passengers get on board and maybe have too much to drink and act drunk or belligerent, or maybe they're just in a bad mood and they are prone to starting verbal fights, maybe physical fights, doing things that are unbecoming. This type of disruptive behavior can get out of hand, and that's what worries cruise ship captains, because they have to and will take some kind of action. So all cruise ships have security staff, but the captain is really at the top of that. And one captain told me that there have been cases where he has had to confine passengers to their room, kind of like a house arrest on the cruise ship. He has had to take passengers and actually put them somewhere else away from everybody else. So if you don't want to go to a cruise ship jail, you want to be careful about how you behave on that ship. For most of us, this is never going to be an issue. But if you see somebody acting this way on a ship, it's probably going to be handled in a serious way. And captains have the authority to do whatever is necessary to keep their ship safe. One captain actually told me that you don't think about this as disruptive behavior, but it really is, and that sometimes cruise passengers will see an open door into a galleyway or into a crew-only area, and they'll take the liberty to wander in there and check it out. And yeah, people get curious, but that can be very disruptive, and there is on most cruise ships a zero tolerance policy for passengers entering these areas, and you can have some consequences if you do that as well, so keep that in mind. And then there are some more subtle behaviors that people do that also annoy some captains. I've cruised a lot of cruise lines, and the standards for etiquette and dress code can vary widely from one to the next. So it's important to understand what you're getting into for the cruise line you're getting on, because cruise ship captains tell me that this is probably the second biggest thing they get an earful for from other passengers. I guess passengers don't appreciate it when people just ignore the dress code. Now, mostly we're talking about main dining room restaurants and specialty restaurants in some cases, where from a minimum there might be a dress code of like no tank tops for men, or no shorts for women, maybe no shorts for men either. It just kind of depends. There might be footwear restrictions that they don't want sandals in the main dining room. It really depends on your ship and the cruise line you're taking. But some passengers don't like it when they dress up for a nice evening and then they have to sit at a table with other people who aren't respecting the dress or the code. And captains have to hear about this. So it's something to be aware of. If there is a dress code, you might be told to go back and change. But I've seen in a lot of cases that wait staff and maitre d's will often look the other way, especially if it's not too egregious. So you might just want to take it upon yourself to understand what that dress code is, so that you're not doing things that upset other passengers who also have a right to be there. When I heard this next item from a captain, I was shocked. But first, if you've gotten any good info from this video so far, make sure you subscribe to our channel and get all of our cruising updates. If I have to fly into a port to get on a cruise, I have a personal policy. I always fly in at least the day before. And that gets rid of almost all of the risk of missing the ship and any headache that would be associated with small problems that come up on that day. If the flight's delayed by an hour, then you start worrying, you start getting more stress. It's just not worth it. And believe it or not, a cruise ship captain told me once that this is also a pet peeve of his, because he said that people actually try to get in touch with him, call the cruise line, call the port authority, and ask a message to be gotten to the captain that they're almost there, they're on their way, and could he please hold the ship? And really, in 99.9% of the cases, the captain is not going to delay leaving. They're on a schedule for a reason. And the captain told me, he said it's rather presumptuous that one group or family of passengers is going to ask me to hold the ship for them when everybody else found a way to get there on time and is ready to get their vacation started. And this last item is hands down the one thing that captains I spoke with said they hate the most. I've had more than one cruiser tell me that when they go on a cruise, they paid good money for that, and they have certain expectations from the staff on the cruise ship, and if those aren't met, that they have no problem calling those people out. But I've seen many cruisers do this in quite a disrespectful way, and this drives cruise ship captains nuts, because the captain is the president of the entire ship. Everybody working underneath him is doing a job to make that cruise work properly, to make you have a good vacation. And nobody's perfect. People are gonna make mistakes, but there's a right way and a wrong way to address issues that you have. And being disrespectful is just not one of them. And captains really can't stand it because they hear about these things. I mean, they're living with these crew members for 9 months at a time, in many cases longer. And it really bugs some of these captains. And it should, frankly. It's along the lines, one captain told me that he's actually had a passenger more than once tell him that he could help him maneuver the ship into an area where there was bad weather, so the captain was avoiding it, but I guess the guest was angry that the port of call was being canceled. And I mean, that's disrespectful in its own right, really. So keep that in mind. Granted, staff will make mistakes and maybe things aren't always going to be up to expectations, but usually if you address that properly, they'll fix it, and they might even compensate you if they made a mistake and did something wrong. So it's worth just being polite about it and addressing the issue in a professional manner. That's all the captains are asking for. So now that you know some of the things passengers do that cruise ship captains really don't like, there are 7 things happening to cruise ship passengers right now that leaves them feeling taken advantage of. I'll tell you all about those right here.